know what it's like when you put anything out there. You're going to get blowback, no matter what the story is. You're going to get people who are haters. And I'm fine with that. I've got a pretty thick skin, but the idea of putting my daughter out there was not a thrilling one.
Struggling with the front traffic today.
I've really tried to keep the personal life and the work life pretty separate because it's hard to operate. This was not even something I thought I could talk about. It's when I went to work, I shut down this part of my life.
Open your mic and hear her.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. I'm Becky Quick. I'm a morning anchor at CNBC Squawk Box, and I am the mom of Kaylee Quayle, and she has a rare genetic disease. It's called SYNGAP1. We tell stories all the time. We've just never told this story. We've never told our story. And we had some trepidations.
And it has taken us 9 years to get here on this couch, able to talk about it. I'm Matt Quayle. I am the producer of an afternoon show on CNBC called Power Lunch. I also do a show called U.S. Markets Edition, which is a show that airs in Europe and Asia. Because of the position we're in, we can be in front of the camera here, and we can really use that for good.
Ready? Whoosh!
Kaylee was a very easy, happy baby.
Happy baby. All right.
She smiled all the time and was just so excited to be around people. She still is. Kaylee is, she's got this sunshine personality and lights up a room when she walks in. Most of the time, she's pretty happy. When she's not, everybody knows. And for the first 6 months, I was so excited. It was the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Oh, peas! Yay, Kaylee!
I could tell that there was something a little different, and I was concerned, so we started taking her to doctors. And you have hope all the time, like if I just take her to enough therapy sessions, she's gonna be okay. And then you start rolling it back, and it's like, if she can just walk, if she can just talk, if she can just find a friend.
I want to say it was the first birthday party. It felt like a wake.
And now for the creative opening.
There was something so wrong with it. And we knew we were trying to be happy, and we were trying to celebrate it.
Happy birthday to you.
But she couldn't blow out the candle, right? Like that, we weren't there yet. And she wasn't able to do that, so we kind of faked it because we wanted to make it feel like it was normal. And it wasn't normal, and we knew it.
Fast forward to when we got the diagnosis. It was just before Kaylee turned 3. It was September of 2019, just before COVID.
I remember where we were. It's like one of those moments you know exactly where you were. Every time I drive by that building, that's the first thing I think about, is sitting in that parking lot, crying. But at least there was an answer, a little bit.
SYNGAP is a protein that your brain needs for its development. But basically, kids who have SYNGAP, most of them have autism. Virtually all of them have seizures. They have developmental delays.
Oh, yeah.
There are behaviors that are associated with it, and intellectual disability.
Kaylee has been given, a short straw, and you gotta stop yourself and remember that this is insanely frustrating. I want to scream, I want to cry, I want to punch a wall when things go off the rails, and just stop and remember that, she's the one that is, suffering, not me. We have a great life. We have to remember that she's the one that, we're fighting for.
We're celebrating the signing and the funding of HB
907, the Sunshine Genetics Act, is truly...
In Florida, a landmark piece of legislation seeks to change how families detect serious conditions early. The initiative offers whole genome sequencing to check for hundreds of serious and often silent disorders. Adam Anderson, the state legislator who introduced the bill, says it moves diagnosis from reaction to prevention.
Did you hold your head up today?
It was probably around 15 months old where we finally pushed very hard to get genetic testing completed on Andrew. And that gave us the ultimate diagnosis that he had Tay-Sachs disease.
Tay-Sachs is a fatal inherited disorder. There is no cure. And once symptoms appear, the decline is unstoppable.
He passed away in a little after 3 in the morning. And I was woken at 3. And I'm so fortunate that I was able to hold him in my arms when he passed away. And for at least a year straight, I'd wake up every single morning at about 3 o'clock.
In 2022, Anderson ran for a seat in the Florida House and won.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Rare disease policy quickly became a defining issue.
So many of these rare diseases, they have just so significant detrimental impacts on your overall health. But what if you could stop it from happening in the first place?
The initial rollout at Tampa General Hospital will test that theory beginning this year. And thanks to state and private funding, it's free for parents who opt in. The law also requires that the data be made anonymous to protect participants against potential misuse. A recent study conducted by New York Presbyterian found that each year, 3.2% of babies are born with clinically actionable conditions. GeneDx CEO Catherine Stuland says that's more than 100,000 newborns whose lives could be improved or even saved.
Something that can be done immediately at birth. Could be putting a baby on a ketogenic diet to prevent seizures. It could be adding zinc as a supplement. It could mean a clinical trial or an FDA-approved therapy. An accurate diagnosis earlier helps ensure that the right treatment path is in front of these families.
For Adam Anderson, the Sunshine Genetics Act is his way of trying to help those families avoid what he lost.
When you think about Drew, is he forever 4 years old in your mind?
No, actually he's not. I see him as a 10-year-old boy. Yeah, not a 4-year-old boy. And he's healthy. He's free.
At just 2 days old, KJ Muldoon was already fighting for his life. Blood tests revealed a severe enzyme deficiency called carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 1, or CPS1. It's a metabolic disorder preventing his liver from safely breaking down protein.
What did you think when they brought up the idea of a gene therapy?
Like right away, I kind of had this feeling that there was something to it, even though it seemed so far-fetched.
Doctors Rebecca Ahrens-Nicholas and Kiran Musunuru raced to create a custom gene editing therapy in just 6 months' time.
We couldn't spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, which is what it usually takes to develop a drug. We would have to make it within a few months to have any chance of actually helping a patient like KJ.
The shocking speed of development and accelerated regulatory approval were unprecedented, making medical history.
We went from having that initial conversation with Dr. Rebecca in October to first infusion end of February.
I was incredibly excited and incredibly terrified at the same time.
Gene therapies hold enormous potential, but also serious risks.
How I would describe Terry is fearless. He lived life in the best way he could. He was kind. He was funny.
Rich Horgan lost his younger brother Terry in 2022, just days after a clinical trial. Terry had an ultra-rare form of Duchenne.
Duchenne is caused by a mutation in dystrophin. Dystrophin is like the shocks on your car. We were in effect trying to correct the mutation on the DNA level.
Horgan founded a nonprofit biotech in search of a drug to help Terry. It took nearly 4 years, but he curated a team able to produce a personalized gene editing therapy for his brother.
Terry had watched the process all along, and so he'd seen the ups, the downs, the challenges, the struggles, but chose to proceed. In messages that we read later after he passed away, one of them said that he's not doing it for him, he's doing it for the other patients.
Well, you have to be very proud of him.
Very proud.
How many patients are you all working with now?
Collectively, we're in the tens of thousands of patients that if successful, these drugs will hopefully help in the not so distant future.
Today, KJ is thriving. Recently, he even started walking, taking small steps with giant implications for the future of medicine, and offering hope where there often is none. 11-year-old Susanna Rosen is enjoying a sense of freedom that, up until recently, seemed out of reach.
Zoom around, you can go wherever you want.
Every maneuver on her new power chair, a quiet triumph over a disease that's tried to slow her down since the age of 2.
Susanna has a mutation in her KIF1A gene that slowly kills the nerves in her brain and kills the nerves in her whole body.
Her condition is considered nano-rare, affecting only a few dozen patients worldwide. When doctors told Luke and Sally Rosen that they had 5 years, they quickly started a foundation to identify experts who could help.
I recall banging down Stan Crook's door and just calling and calling and calling until he got back to me.
People arrive at our door hopeless. Hopelessness is a terrible state for a human being.
It was Dr. Stanley Crook who opened the door to the lifeline the Rosens were searching for. Crook founded n-Lorem, a nonprofit that uses antisense oligonucleotides, or ASO therapies, to target cells building faulty proteins. Treatment is free for life.
We have 5 applications in the first 10 minutes after we open our doors, so I knew that it was a much larger problem.
Unlike most biotech companies that are chasing scale, n-Lorem designs ultra-personalized therapies for populations with 30 people or less. For these families, the foundation is their only hope. Today, n-Lorem has more than 40 patients in treatment, but Crook aims to grow that number.
Should we say thank you? What does it cost to save someone?
It's about $1.2 million. For many of those ASOs, we can treat more than one patient, so I hope I can get the cost down to somewhere around $700,000 a life.
You want to choose the hairstyle?
3 years into therapy, Susanna's regression is impossible to ignore, but her pain has subsided, a measure of relief the Rosens don't take for granted.
If she doesn't go treated, she's probably going to die. And if we can slow that down and curb that severity of disease, then maybe, wheelchair or not, maybe I'll be able to dance with her at prom or something. And that's something you think would never, I don't know, Becky, that's something you can never measure. Yeah, but
I think you're going to get that dance.
I think so too.
Just so you can see, inside this briefcase is the Holy Grail, the check for $10 million.
On Prime Video's most watched reality series ever, 50 million people around the world witnessed an unlikely victory. 1,000 players faced off for the $10 million jackpot. Beast Games player number 831 beat every odd and won.
Little man, he did that for you.
I remember Jen hugged me and said, "We're going to find a cure for Lucas." And it's all a miracle.
Alan's son, Lucas, suffers from an ultra-rare creatine transporter deficiency.
We can't pull, sweet boy.
He's one of an estimated 500 known cases in the world. Creatine is vital for brain function. Disruptions can cause intellectual disability, speech delays, and behavioral issues.
The urgency to kind of go, okay, we have this platform, we have the money to make a change for Lucas and for kids with CTD, like we gotta go.
Yeah, good watching.
Alan plans to leverage his winnings and newfound fame to drive research that he hopes will lead to a cure.
Bye. Bye.
He's part of a growing chorus of parents fighting for their children's futures.
I love you.
Even when the diagnosis is fatal.
We got the diagnosis that Megan had this rare form of muscular dystrophy. And he just said, "I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do." And then he looked down in the car carrier where we had our 7-day-old son, Patrick, and said there was a 25% chance that he may have the disease and needed to be tested.
Megan and Patrick Crowley both had Pompe disease, a genetic mutation that severely weakens muscles and enlarges the heart. Left untreated, it becomes a death sentence, an outcome John Crowley simply would not accept. Instead, he walked away from a successful career and went all in on Novozyme Pharmaceuticals, a fledgling startup with a bold mission: develop an enzyme to replace what Pompe patients can't produce on their own.
I realized I probably need hundreds of millions of dollars, even for this one rare disease. And I needed the horsepower of a much larger company with their expertise, their capital.
And that's when the Genzyme deal came about. They spent how much to acquire the company?
Just over $100 million to acquire our little company.
Today, Pompe disease is a condition patients can survive. Crowley's children are now adults, living lives he was once told wouldn't happen.
The science, the technology is there. It's just exploding. We're in the golden age of medicine. We're not on the cusp anymore. And the biggest challenges, Becky, are man-made.
As long as I keep going, we're gonna finish it.
Jeffrey Allen is confronting those challenges in stride. Last February, he walked across the state of California carrying the weight of his son, traveling 365 miles to honor the 365 days of the year Lucas battles his disease.
The bittersweet truth of being a parent of a rare disease child is we're gonna find stuff for our children that is gonna help. But the true beneficiaries are families who haven't even started yet.
Allen and countless other parents and caregivers from all walks of life are rewriting the rules of medicine, challenging how we value human life, and together, defying rare disease. I think we're all kind of desperate for what can we do? What can we possibly do to help our kids and help other people who are going through the same path? And Jeffrey has figured it out.
And a little bit of what CNBC Cures can potentially do is use the power of the media to spread the message. I still deep down believe that Kaylee was put on this planet for a reason, and this may be it. Some of that is, blind faith. Some of it's hope. Some of it is a parent searching for answers. Some of it's a relationship with God. But for whatever reason, we're here.
I do think Kaylee would want to help her friends and people she hasn't met yet, because she is a good, sweet girl. And I hope her legacy is that she has a long, wonderful life and a beautiful family.